Hey folks, this is Chris Crazy House here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this article that I saw on CBR.com, and that's something that I can appreciate being an anime fan from way back when. So the article is called "How Expensive Was It to Be an Anime Fan in the 90s versus Now?" And the article starts off talking about how a lot of people, or at least a lot of young people, complain about the subscription services, whether it be on Crunchyroll or Funimation, or I know Shonen Jump. You can also get a subscription to read their mangas. And people complain about these, in my opinion, very low prices, like anything under $10, and you can, watch whatever's in that subscription. I mean, that's a great deal. I don't know what people are actually complaining about. The only thing I can think of maybe is young people, maybe they just don't have money. Like, I don't know if young people actually work nowadays, like if they have summer jobs or after school jobs like I did when I was young. So I can't say for sure, if they just don't have money or if they just don't get an allowance or whatever. I would assume that most kids get at least something for doing chores, or like I said, even have like a small after school job or something like that. Because if you have that, then you should be able to afford these types of things. But I remember growing up when I got into anime real heavy. I got into it real heavy when I was in middle school. So around seventh grade, we started. My friends and I started getting those anime magazines, and like one person would buy it, and then we'd all pass it around, and each one would read it overnight, and then bring it back so someone else could read it. And that through those magazines, we would find out kind of what we wanted to see or what kind of anime we wanted to watch. And I remember the first one was the Bio Booster Armor Guyver series put out through US renditions on VHS. And I remember I couldn't find the first VHS, so I just got the second one because that was what was available. I got the second one and the third one, and just watched those until they released some new ones late, like a couple of years later. But that's how it was back then. Like you had to, if you wanted to buy some anime, like if there was a series, you would get one VHS, and on that VHS, it would be maybe two episodes. Like I remember with the Guyvers, they had like two episodes on each VHS, and they had like some character profiles on the end. If you like just kept watching the tape, you would see like the character profiles of some of the characters that appeared in that episode, and they kind of give you their background or whatever and their stats. But that was about it. Most of these anime, like whether it be an OVA, like a full movie, it would just be that one movie, and that VHS would cost $20, or the price I think was like 19.95 or something like that. But pretty much $20 if you went to like Suncoast Video. And some of the VHSs would cost more. Like there are some that cost like over $20. Like they would cost like 29.99. So almost up to $30, depending on what you were buying. I remember I bought this one. I think it was called Guy Double Target, if I'm not mistaken. That was $30, and it came in like one of those large VHS cases. I don't know if you guys remember those. For those who are old enough to remember, like some VHS, like the Disney movies, just all come in these very large VHS cases, and sometimes some of these anime DVDs would come like that as well. And it was weird. Like some of them, the ones that were more expensive were the ones that were just subtitles. I don't know what that was about. Like the ones that were dubbed were cheaper, and usually, like I said, U.S. renditions or uh, what was the other one? They had a couple of different companies that would actually do the dubbing for these anime. Orion was another one that put out a lot of different anime. I remember their ad very specifically. They had a great ad. They're the ones that put out Fist of the North Star, Akira, and Gogol 13, and there's a couple other ones. But they put out really, I wouldn't say subversive, but there's a lot of extremely violent anime that they put out. But a lot of anime back then was not the soft core stuff that a lot of young people watch nowadays. There's a lot of some of the anime fandom today is funny to me because, like I said, back then anime was hard to find. There's only really a few places you could buy it. Like maybe if you knew like a comic book store or you knew like some underground video store that just had a whole bunch of different underground stuff. So it wasn't just anime, but they had like underground and independent horror movies or uh, movies that had just never been released. You had to go find stuff there. Maybe you can find it at if you go to like a auction or someplace like that, they might have someone selling some anime there, or like selling bootleg copies. Like there are people that sell like bootleg clothes. They would also have like bootleg tapes of anime or like kung fu flicks directly from China. Because that's where I remember we were going to places like that and starting to see a lot of the Hong Kong action movies like Hard Boiled and stuff like that. Like because that stuff never made it here, so we had to see that stuff bootleg first before we ever saw it in the mainstream. Like now everyone knows these movies and knows these anime, but before, like back in my day, a lot of stuff we saw was bootleg, and you kind of got it any way you could get it. But if you went the legit route, like I said, there's only a few places you can get it. If you went to Suncoast Video, you were gonna pay at least $20 for a VHS tape, and like I said, that could be a full OVA. Like I remember, I bought all those Fatal Fury movies on VHS. They were all $20 a piece. And if it was a series like either Guyver or Evangelion or Record of the Lotus War, they would always put maybe 2 episodes on each VHS and maybe some character profiles and something like that, and that would be it. And that's all you would get on each VHS. Like nowadays, I was so happy when it changed over to DVD because you can buy one DVD for $20 and get the entire series on one disc. They did that with Guyver. They did that with Iria and a couple other series as well. You can get the whole series on 1 or 2 discs. So I was happy when they switched over to that format. But like I said before, when it was VHS days, it was rough. You spent a lot of money. But if you had to be a legitimate anime fan, someone to actually look for that stuff to order in order to want to go out there and get it. Like I remember even special ordering anime, so I would order in a catalog before it came to the store just to make sure I had a copy when it got there. When the new copies came out, go there and get it. And like I said, that was the way it was back then. Like I think kids are very fortunate now that this type of media is readily available. Like now, you really almost don't even have to pay for it. You can just go online and find it somewhere. You just go. So a lot of stuff you can even find on YouTube. If you don't even want to watch the whole episode, just watch an AMV, or just watch a certain scene or watch one episode or something like that. Because even Funimation puts out some episodes for free nowadays. So, like I said, young people are very lucky, in my opinion. Like I said, we didn't have the access to this stuff like you do now. And it's funny that, like I said, this article puts out people complaining, but that's the nature of human beings, I think, to begin with. We always complain about stuff that we have in abundance, and we don't think about what it's like to actually do without, So, like I said, to me, it's interesting seeing this article and kind of reminiscing about all we had to do to get this art form that we love so much. And the great thing was for me, like once I went to college, I was able to see a lot of anime that I had missed out on just because I couldn't afford it. Like I could only buy a certain tape every once in a while. I couldn't, I wasn't rolling in dough like that, even though I had an after school job, but I couldn't afford it as much as some people's collection was. And like, so when I got to college, I got to meet a lot of different artists who also collected anime, and we would just trade VHSs and we'd watch, or we'd all cram into one of our friends' room and watch that. I don't know if he's here in this watching this video, but one of my friends from school, Ed, is here. He'll tell you we used to all cram into his room and watch anime or play like import video games and everything else. So I got a chance to see a lot of stuff that I wanted to see, but I just never got a chance to until I got to college. So I appreciate him for that. I remember watching the Yu Yu Hakusho OVA in his room. Like I had seen the series, but I had never seen the OVA until I got there, and a whole bunch of us watching in his room. And one of the reasons I remember that time is because I remember Ed almost beat the crap out of somebody over some comments the guy was making over while we were trying to watch the movie. I won't get into that here, but he probably knows what I'm talking about. The guy that dorky guy, like Napoleon Dynamite, that used to be his roommate. I remember Ed raised up on him. That was funny. A great memory, by the way. But that's what I'm saying. Like back then, we all kind of pooled our anime and video game resources together so that everyone got a chance to see a lot of this stuff. Like there are a lot of Dragon Ball Z OVAs that I had never seen until I got to college. Like I never saw the Trunks movie where you see him in the future fighting the androids, and he's the only Saiyan left. I had never seen that until I got to college. I had never seen the Frieza's brother Cooler, that whole series, and then even the Metal Cooler that came later. I never had seen that until I got to college. So I appreciated being able to be exposed to things like that. And likewise, a lot of my friends that I had never seen Legend of the Overfiend until I brought that to them for them to see. So like I said, we got a chance to trade off and show each other animation. And like I said, that's how it was back then. It was such an underground thing. The only people who were really, really into it even knew about it. But like I said, nowadays it's so readily available and everyone can get a hold of it. It's you can trip and fall and find some anime. The fact that they sell anime t-shirts at Walmart is crazy. You don't have to go to a back alley auction somewhere or go to Chinatown or whatever, or Little Tokyo to find these shirts. You can go to Walmart and get a damn anime t-shirt, or you just go online and find one. It's crazy how we used to have to find that stuff before. But I'll post a link to the article. You folks let me know some of your experiences if you're also a 90s kid, or you were a kid or a teenager during the 90s trying to buy anime and being an anime fan, and how tough it was to find that stuff compared to how easy it is to find it now. Anyway, Chris Crazy House signing out. Peace.